Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and subscribe to the YouTube, become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community. Make sure you also go and subscribe to our other platforms, the Spotify, the Apple Podcast. Get into all of that great content. We have plenty of podcasts coming out on the Spotify and Apple Podcasts every single day. We have plenty of content coming out on the YouTube. The interviews aren't over as well. We are trying to organise some interviews towards the very back end of the off-season, leading into the pre-season. We're going to have some interviews going, I believe, during the charity match time, that the Sport Shed TV charity match, because we are having a few content creators coming down. So we might get a few interviews there, which will be really exciting. Two big names that I've got a verbal agreement from, but I just need to get that confirmation. But the interviews aren't done. We are going to get some great interviews in during the off season. But let's get into a little bit more of a looking into the 2025 season topic. Now, we did obviously put a little bit of a bloating reel on the Instagram, talking about a rumour that we had sort of chatted about this for the Gold Coast Titans a little bit on the Instagram page. I made a big call that Brimson would be playing halfback and would be the next Jerome Hughes. But we did get a rumour, courtesy of Mixed Rugby League, that we are going to be seeing Brimson and Jayden Campbell in the halves, or at least they're training that way going into the 2025 season. So, look, really exciting. I think that, as we move into the, further into the future for rugby league, these are more of the halves pairings we're going to see. A lot more, I guess, explosive running halves in the competition as well. Fullback, hybrid, halfbacks. I think they are going to become quite a bit common, and especially for the Gold Coast Titans, with the style of play that they have, which is quite fast-paced, which is quite, explosive and exciting. I think it does suit their style of attack too, and I think that Desi sort of realises that as well. And, when you're trying to fit Jayden Campbell, Keanu Kinney, Brimson, Carter Gordon as well is in this side as well. You've also got Kieran Foran, who's obviously in his last year, I believe, of his career this upcoming season as well. So you're trying to fit all of these guys into the team. It's apparently Kieran Foran's going to be stepping into a utility role. I don't mind that. It's probably where I would have had him as well in my 17, or it's where I actually did have him, I believe, in my 17, either playing at 9 or at 14. But yeah, look, really interesting stuff. How that's going to look, whether Jayden Campbell's the 7, whether AJ's the 7. For me, I'd probably go AJ, because I just can see him, his body shape. Defensively, I can see him turning into a bit of a Jerome Hughes style of player. As I said, defensively, he'd be able to suit it there in the front line. I think that also he's got the running game and he's got the ball skills to hop into that jersey as well. So I think Brimson will be the halfback. I think that you'll see Jayden Campbell keep his spot at 6. And, slowly but surely, I think we do see this halves pairing work. I think that we can get a future where Brimson is the halfback for the Gold Coast Titans. I think it is going to take more than 1 year, but I really do like it. Where does that leave Carter Gordon? I mean, we sort of talked about it on the podcast too when we did the team list podcast. I sort of see him in jersey number 17. I think that as well, with a lot of these, it's becoming more and more common that we see back rowers play 80 minutes. And in my opinion, I think that Bo Firma, Dave Fafita, they're both 80-minute back rowers. I think that we could see, have that. They can afford to have that jersey 17 there, the Titans, in Carter Gordon, that can come on and play a bit of a roaming role. Sam Verrills, I probably have off the bench coming on and being that out-and-out 9, having a bit of impact coming off the bench there if Kieran Foran starts, or vice versa. Kieran Foran coming off the bench. I'd probably rather have Kieran Foran starting at 9, because he's a real tough defender, gets through those hard yards, obviously the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of games. So I'd probably have Kieran Foran starting at 9 with Verrills coming off the bench as that out-and-out 9 with the ball skills to have a little bit more of an impact coming off the bench. But yeah, look, I think they can afford to still have a Carter Gordon in jersey 17 who does come on in that little roaming role. He's got a big enough frame. He is an absolute unit, Carter Gordon. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". So he's a real big body. I think that he could really handle it through the middle and be that sort of ball-playing lock forward. In regards to him transitioning into the halves, the future plan that I've got here of Jayden Campbell and AJ Brimson sort of pushes that back a little bit. But I think that, we could see Carter Gordon really kill it in that role. And we know how important the utility role is becoming in the competition as well, and how important it can be and will become over the next few years. So I think that's sort of how I see my Titans side looking. We could definitely see Carter Gordon go into 7. His ball playing skills are outstanding. He's got a really nice set of feet. He's got really good footwork. A little bit of acceleration as well there for Carter Gordon, which I really like. I think that he could suit that role for sure. Going into that, halfback role. And I think that you could obviously then have Jayden Campbell or AJ in the number 6. But when you're trying to fit all of those guys into the side and keep Jayden Campbell, Keanu Kinney, AJ Brimson in the side, I think that it works to have both AJ and Jayden Campbell in the halves. I wouldn't push AJ out to center again. Just, we know defensively he can handle it, but he just doesn't get involved enough. I want AJ to be the guy that's making decisions in this team. All he really needs to work on, in my opinion, to be a good halfback, or at least to be another form of that fullback halfback hybrid, is his kicking game, because they do need a kicker. Jayden Campbell's kicking game's quite good, but I think that, AJ being the 7 in this side, being the decision maker, he probably does need to work on his kicking game, whether it be a long field kicking game or whether it be a short field kicking game. He certainly needs to work on it if he is going to be the 7 in this side. But yeah, look, I think it can work. I really do. And as I said, it's not going to work out straight away. They've got to get used to this new style of play. But long term, I think that, with the style of footy that we've seen from the Gold Coast Titans, that very fast, enterprising game of footy, this style of halfback, it suits their style of play. So I like AJ at 7. It's the big call that we've made leading into the season, AJ being the halfback. But I really do think, in the next 2 years, this could really work out. And I think that really he could be the next Jerome Hughes, AJ Brimson for sure. So, look, really excited to see how this works. They're obviously training that way, it sounds like, at the moment with Jayden Campbell and AJ in the halves. Who is 6 and 7, I'm not too sure. But if I was Des Hasler, which I'm certainly not, he's a lot better looking than I am, I probably would go with AJ at 7 being that new fullback halfback hybrid, I should say, in the number 7 jersey, the new Jerome Hughes. I'd have him there at 7 with Jayden Campbell keeping that 6 jersey. I love Jayden Campbell going down that left-hand side of the field. I think that him and Dave Fafita can build a really beautiful combination there as well. So I have got Jayden Campbell staying at 6 with AJ running the side at 7. I want him to be making the decisions, and I think that people, with AJ being out for a while, have just really forgotten how good AJ Brimson actually is too. So, look, I really do love this new era for the Titans. Obviously, that leaves Kieran Foran either in a 9 or 14 jersey. It sounds like he's going to be the utility, so probably in the 14 jersey and playing a similar role to Benji Marshall in his last season for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Which is interesting. It's probably not the role that I would have Kieran Foran in, especially if you want to have Carter Gordon and Kieran Foran. That's a fucking mouthful and a half. But if you want to have both of those guys in the side, I'd probably be keeping Kieran Foran in a hooker sort of role, because he has played hooker before for the Kiwis. So I'd probably be playing him at 9. And then I'd be having Carter Gordon being that roaming guy off the bench. Because as I said, Carter Gordon's got the frame. I'm sure defensively he's quite solid as well. You got to remember in rugby union, they have a lot less time to make defensive decisions because, it's a whole 5 metres shorter between obviously where the play's happening and the defensive line. So, having that extra 5 metres of room might actually help Carter Gordon, and he might be a real great defender, as we move further throughout the season. I could even see Carter Gordon sitting there at 13, to be honest. I could see him taking Chris Randall's spot. That's going to be really interesting to see throughout the season as well. But yeah, look, I think that the side that we've got predicted for the Gold Coast Titans with AJ at 7. It suits the side. It suits the style of attack. I think we're going to see a lot more of these fullback hybrid halfbacks in the game over the next few years. As to who those guys are, I'm not too sure. I'm not as familiar as a lot of other guys with the next crop of players coming through. But I certainly think that this is going to become a lot more common as the game speeds up as well, that we do see these more fullback, halfback hybrid players in the NRL, and I think that AJ is going to be the next one too, and it is going to suit the side for the future. You keep the big three there, Keanu Kinney, Jayden Campbell, and AJ Brimson. You keep them all in the side, and then by the time it works, they could be one of the more dangerous teams in the competition with the forward pack that they have as well, the mix of experience and youth. I really do think that, give it a year or so, the Titans will be one of the most dangerous attacking teams in the competition if this works. So, look, excited to see it. I thought we would do a little bit of a deep dive and go into where we might see, Jayden Campbell, AJ, Kieran Foran, Carter Gordon, because they are obviously all good enough to be playing first grade. Whether we see Carter Gordon in first grade straight away or whether he comes in a little bit later, I'm not too sure, but I'd love to see him as a utility here for the Gold Coast Titans just while they're working out, what works, what doesn't. Would it shock me if Carter Gordon, if this AJ thing doesn't work, goes straight to 7? No, it wouldn't. If Kieran Foran temporarily goes back there to end the season while they, look through the lower grades. You got to remember they've still got Tom Weaver on a development deal there at the Gold Coast Titans as well. So they've still got guys there who are waiting for an opportunity in the halfback jersey. A big headache for them going into the future too is Jalen de Groot. They've still got him in reserve grade as well. I'm not just saying that he's a headache, but I think that, trying to fit him into the side as well, whether they let him go, going into the back end of the year or when he comes off contract, that's going to be a big call to make as well. He's still sitting there waiting for a spot. But it's really going to be interesting to see if what I think is going to work works, which I really do think it will, with AJ in the 7 and Jayden Campbell in the 6. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below on the YouTube or in the Spotify comments. What do you think? What works best for the Gold Coast Titans? Is AJ going to be the next halfback for the Gold Coast Titans as well? It sounds like it. Rumours would suggest that is the case. Shout out to Mixed Rugby League as well. That was a really nice read as well, particularly when I put that call out there, and then we were sort of getting a little bit further into the preseason, and I was like, oh shit, I might have just made one of the worst calls ever. So it was really good to see that call come off. Well, it hasn't come off yet. We haven't seen the round 1 team list, but look, let me know what you guys think. Is AJ going to be the halfback for the Gold Coast Titans? Who would you have in there? Does Carter Gordon come straight in your 17? With Kieran Foran moving into a bit more of a utility role, similar to Benji Marshall as he played for South Sydney before he retired. Let us know in the comments section below, what is your Titans' best halves pairing? And then I will get back to you guys in all of the replies in the Spotify comments, but also on the YouTube as well. Subscribe to all YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are growing tremendously on all of those and on the Instagram as well. Make sure to go ahead and give us a follow. And if you want to see me playing in the Sports Shed TV charity match, obviously the team lists haven't come out yet. But if you want to see me playing in that game, make sure to go ahead and hit up the Sports Shed TV boys as well and put my name forward if you would like to see me in the team list. I'm not sure if both teams are officially confirmed yet. By the time this podcast comes out, they may be, obviously, with the game, I think, in mid-Feb. But let us know if you want to see me playing, and obviously tag the Sports Shed TV charity match boys and flick them a message in the Instagram and let them know that you want to see Big Les don a jersey in the Sports Shed TV charity match. We'll see you guys in the next one.